Hello, clever people, and welcome to my review for Replicas. So Replicas, which was one of my least anticipated movies of 2019, has Keanu Reeves in it and Alice Eve, and it follows the story of this man who gets in a very bad car accident with his family, but he's a smart science guy, and he decides he wants to try to clone his family. He wants to take their brain activity and he wants to transmit it into these replicated versions of who they were, because he wants to have his family back, and he'd go as far as he possibly can for his family. But there's some very bad people that want to do bad things to him, so he has to try to protect them and try to protect them from the secret that they are robots. So the description I just gave you is the description that the trailer gave you, and that's why I gave you a description of the movie that was that detailed. And you think that's not very detailed, that's probably like the first 25% of the movie, right? And weirdly enough, that's not what it is. Replicas, based off of the trailer, I thought that most of it was going to be about him keeping the secret, about his issues with the company, but 80% of this movie is him building the robots, and over time getting closer and closer and trying to figure out different things, and that really threw me off. And it's a very big red flag when, as you're watching a movie, you realize how much the trailers gave away. Because when there's a movie and the trailer gives away everything, you know that it's because they had nothing else to show except for the conflict at the end, that they had nothing going up beforehand. And basically, this movie felt like a whole lot of nothing. It did, because like I said, 80% of the movie is him building these robots, and you just end up getting a lot of repetitive scenes. You get a lot of scenes of people trying to figure it out and having it not work, and his work calling him and he's not able to go, and it just ends up becoming such a repetitive thing. And the last 20% is no better, because this is one of the few movies I've seen that legitimately becomes incompetent. That's rare to see a movie released on the big screen that's genuinely incompetent. Like A Dog's Way Home, I just reviewed that. That movie had some very incompetent CGI, but the overall structure and everything in the movie, it was at least competent enough to be considered like a movie. And Replicas was not. This movie is so messy, so convoluted, so screwed up that at the end you're just shocked that it was made. I think that the most incompetent part of the movie is the acting in it, which is weird because there are some experienced actors in here. Keanu Reeves, Alice Eve, I believe that there's some other people in here that have acted before, but none of them seem to know what to do. And I think that just comes from bad direction, because the director's job is to get emotion out of their actors and get it so that their actors are giving strong performances. But that's not what they do here. The performances are extremely weak. They're extremely one note. They're extremely flat. And I really hated it. Because there's scenes where Keanu Reeves is mourning over his dead family that he killed in a car accident. And the most you get is him talking low, and you never see him cry. If he's crying, it's him making noises and he's covering his eyes, which is smart when an actor doesn't know how to cry, but it's obvious. And besides that, the CGI in this movie too. Worst CGI I've ever seen on screen. I have no doubt about it. It's worse than Toy Story, which came out 2.5 decades ago. It's literally like they used the CGI very sparingly, but it's this like robot creature that runs around, and when it's running, it literally looks like still images, like spliced together of it running. It looks terrible. It looks horrible. And once that happened, I knew how bad this movie was. Everything else about it, the writing, the directing, every single part of a movie that makes it a movie was completely incompetent and convoluted and messy. Replicas is a disaster. It's a complete disaster. It's laughable. It's completely laughable. It's being thrown in the early weeks of January because that's where it belongs. It does not belong anywhere else. This is a January movie through and through. This is a movie that feels like it should have been one of those straight to DVD movies that they re-released in theaters for no reason, like 47 Meters Down. And I don't know. It feels so much like that, and that's not what you want from a movie that's supposed to be showing on the big screen. I'm going to give Replicas a 1 out of 10. Alright, that concludes my review for Replicas. So, what are your thoughts on this film, or what do you think of Keanu Reeves as an actor? Comment in the comment section below and let me know. I'm Robert Burke, and this has been the clever critics. Goodbye.